pretty sure we're going. Let me just triple check. Okay, it's recorded.
Okay, we ready, huh? I'd like to call into session this meeting of the Porter County Election Board for January 2024. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. You'll all rise, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Member Tim?
Here.
Member Chittister?
Here.
Member Lowe?
Here.
Member Roush?
Here.
Member Bailey, yes.
All right, first piece of business on our agenda is reorganization. That's an annual undertaking, right?
I'd make a motion that we keep the slate of officers the same for 2024 as they were in 2023.
I'd like to second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Quick, thank you. Selection of board attorney.
Make a motion, we retain Monica Conrad.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to retain Monica as election board attorney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome aboard again. Thank you. Clerk's report.
Let's start by saying that today's Sunday's birthday, so happy birthday, Sunday.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. The second thing that I wanted to mention is that since our last meeting, Sunday won County Election Employee of the Year from the Indiana Election.
Wow.
Wow.
Congratulations.
You get a trophy for that?
Yeah, like a little clock with pens. It's cute.
Good.
We are officially moved into the new office. So we're at 155 Franklin. There's nice window decals in there. The sign isn't on the front of the building, but there is enough on the front of the building to make everyone understand where we are. But it's at 155 Franklin. So it's where the old jail used to be and where the Mexican restaurant was. And for those of you who haven't seen, it was in the paper, and I believe I sent out an email. We were awarded a $27,000 grant from the Secretary of State's office, and we're going to use that to get some videos made, some professional videos made for how to use our voting equipment. We're going to get some tablets made so that they can, voters in line will be able to view the equipment videos while they're in line. We'll be able to put them on our website, on social media. We're also going to be able to have a custom I voted sticker campaign. So we'll reach out to the schools, have the students create an I voted sticker, and then we're going to use our machines to vote and social media to vote on the sticker, and then we're actually going to get that sticker made, and that's the I voted sticker that's going to be handed out for the general election. So we're excited about that. Filing has started already. Annual campaign finance reports have already been due. You have that list in front of you for those that are late or not turned in. Sunday sent that already. But that's all I have for my report.
All right, thank you. The bids is a great idea. You know, we always, after each iteration, we always think, you know, we've got some people who thought they voted and we can't tally it because they didn't print their ballot or, you know, whatever. So hopefully we can start to make it a better experience and streamline it.
How did it go at conference?
It was good. It was informative, as always. They had some new, more cybersecurity things that we haven't hit on before, so that was different. Then they also hit on, you know, the same voter registration basics, things like that. But all of your materials should be here soon. We're not quite sure why they're not here yet. They said that they have shipped, but they're not in the old office and they're not in the new office, so we're not really sure where they are. But
That's books and everything?
yes, all the books and everything. So as soon as they show up where we can find them, I'll let you guys know.
Any law changes, or major changes that we should be made aware of with voting or anything to do?
Nothing huge.
Nothing really big?
Just that court case.
The only,
Yes.
that court case would be the only thing about the dual vote history. They don't have two vote histories, that are either both Democrat or both Republican. That law has been, challenged, and it's in the Court of Appeals down in Marion, right now with the judge in Indianapolis. So that's gonna be heard after filing ends, but before the challenge date, so there is potential for, candidates that have filed that only have one primary vote history of that party they have a chance to be challenged. So we put that sign up in the office saying that.
Okay.
And we're letting them know when they come in and tell them, hey, just so you are aware, this could potentially affect you.
So this basically prohibits people from jumping back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what that law was for.
But you could always go to the county chairman, right?
Yes.
And override in that.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah,
Yep, and that's just,
right.
I mean, before you file, you could get a letter from the county chairman saying that they're recognizing you as their party?
yes.
Okay. And they'd have to present that letter to you?
They filed it.
Okay. Okay, good, very good.
All right, we'll stay with the directors. Do you guys have more to say?
Not really. Just like Jess said, filing has begun. It ends February 9th at noon. We've been busy with filings, petitions like crazy. Of course, have been coming in, and there's only 2 of us that work on those, so those are taking a little bit. But we're getting it done. We're getting everything kind of back in order. Working on getting the office back in how we want it, basically. We're working out of boxes still, so it'll get there hopefully. But yeah, that's it. Absentee applications have already started coming in. We got about a little over 100 already. So it's gonna be a busy year.
Absolutely. It's going to be a busy year.
Always done.
All right, thank you. All right, the members of the board here should have received electronically the meeting minutes from our last meeting last year. I will move adoption of those meetings now.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Resolutions for the 2024 elections.
Okay, so the resolutions that we have today are to use our electronic poll books for travel board. It's the same resolution that we used last year. It just allows us to be able to do it. And then we have another resolution to use the county highway department along with our staff in order to deliver the election equipment to the polling locations. Again, it's the same thing that we've done for a number of years. And then to use 16 and 17-year-olds as poll workers. So the same resolution that
Yeah,
we use every year.
Ask for the motion, right? All right, so our first resolution, 01, is for the travel board. I'll motion acceptance of this resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the second resolution I'll move adoption is for use of the highway trucks for delivery of equipment and poll books. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jeez. Resolution 3 regarding 16 and 17-year-old poll workers. I move adoption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That it, 3 of them? Next on the agenda is IEC-22 approval.
The IEC 22 approval is the certification of the voting system and electronic poll book inventory list. It's something that we have to file with the Secretary of State's office every year, and it just lists the serial numbers of all of our equipment. So I have all of the serial numbers for all of our equipment and the IEC 22.
Does that need a motion, Monica?
Yes.
A motion adoption of the list and certification of our equipment to be sent downstate.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on in the agenda, item 10, campaign finance reports.
Sunday provided the list to us in our email, and then also for us here. For the 2023 annuals, there were 24 late or not turned in reports. And then today we're going to hear the campaign finance hearing for the delinquent pre-election amendments. All those letters were sent out last month.
Delinquent defectives.
That's today.
Yes.
By any chance, did anyone from staff go down to the health department and see if Porter County is experiencing epidemic of amnesia? I mean,
Would it be a bad idea to?
you know, we were going in the right direction, and now it seemed like we were regressing and stuff. There's got to be a reason for it. You know?
Yeah, and we sent out the reminder email. It's been on Facebook. It's been in the newspaper. So, I mean, all of those courtesy things that we normally do, we did.
So if we want to start with, where we were in November, because we had several people come in November, and I've got some findings here for the board to adopt. On the page that you have is the very bottom, which is outstanding fines, okay? We can kind of handle these one at a time here. Let me start with Amy Arney. I have findings and conclusions for Amy Arnie, even though she's not on your sheet. So in other words, what the board did is that they imposed a fine with Amy, and it was a reduced fine from $1,000 to $500, provided that she paid within 30 days. And so that was paid. So you can go ahead and approve the findings and conclusions, because this is the next board meeting from that hearing. And then I can go ahead and this will kind of close things out, and I will send this on to her. So I just need a motion to approve the findings and conclusions.
I will so motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that's from Miss Arnie.
Mm-hmm.
Signatures are needed on the back.
And while you're executing that, I can start with the next one. The next one was Austin Bonta. And Mr. Bonta came before you, and he was a day late, and the board determined just to maintain the fine of $50. So this is a matter of just approving the findings and conclusions. And because he's not showing up on anybody's list, he's paid on that fine.
This one is paid, so he... All right. I'll move that we concur with the findings and conclusions for Austin Bonta.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next one is the findings and conclusions regarding Carmen Collins. This was one, if you recall, that you heard that you just determined to waive the fine of $1,000. This is the candidate who had medical issues and then couldn't get herself off the ballot, didn't realize that she had a report due. After hearing, the board determined that the fine would be waived. And these are the findings and conclusions of the board to unanimously decide to waive the fine.
I move acceptance of the findings and conclusions for Ms. Collins.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next one that you have is with Dane LaFada. And with Mr. LaFada, he didn't show up. And so the board decision was to unanimously determine that the fine of $200 would remain intact. And this is the findings and conclusions. With this, we can send this out, let him know he's got a $200 fine. This will be his official notice that he's got a fine to be paid.
Move acceptance of the findings and conclusions for Mr. LaFada.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The next one that we have on, this will be, by the way, Mr. LaFada is on your sheet. You'll see his name listed on your sheet below. So that's the findings with regard to the outstanding fines, okay? The next one that we have is with Lance Raphael. With Mr. Raphael, the board had decided to maintain the fine because it was a $1,000 fine. This was his second offense, and that first offense that he had was from $1,000 to $100. And you guys decided to maintain the fine at $1,000. So this is one that hasn't been paid yet, so this will go out and notify that fine is being, the findings and conclusions actually confirm that this is the decision of the board, and we'll give official notice.
I move the findings and conclusions for Mr. Raphael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The next one that we have is with regard to Anthony Wire. Anthony Wire had come before the board with a $200 fine. The board made the determination with a unanimous vote to consider a fine of $100. And it provided it would be paid in 30 days. It has not been paid. At this time, I have a couple drafts here, but if the board would like to reconsider its decision and reinstate the fine of $200 because it wasn't paid within, as you stipulated, this would be the time to do that. And I have two versions here that we could approve, either staying with the $100 or I have one version here where you can maintain the reduction to $100, or because it wasn't paid, you can reinstitute the $200 fine. If you want to reinstitute the fine because it wasn't paid within 30 days, as the board stipulated, you would need to take a vote of that, and then you'd have to take a vote of the findings and conclusions. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Mr. Lowe had kind of a look like he was trying to.
I'd like to make a motion that we reinstate the fine back to the $200 because the condition was you had 30 days and he violated the 30-day rule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of taking back the reduced fine and reinstituting the fine by code? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. Now you have findings and conclusions that would support that the fine of $200 is going to be the fine that he will get notice of.
Okay. I move adoption of the findings and conclusions relative to Mr. Wire for a $200 fine for failing to file his reports in a timely manner.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right. Sunday, this one's a little confusing. I know on the outstanding fines, we have an outstanding fine for Hannah Trueblood for $10. Hmm?
Yes,
For her amendment, which that, the board has already decided, we've already sent findings on that. So
she was ordered to appear today. About this.
oh, okay, that's different.
Appear today, her and police.
Okay, that's separate, that's separate then, okay. But she was before you in November.
That's her different one.
Sorry?
That's a different one.
Yeah, that's a different one. And she was a day late with her pre-election filing. At that point in time, you guys unanimously decided to maintain the fine of $50. These are the findings and conclusions for that. But this has been paid too, correct?
Technically that, yes.
Okay. So, I know, it's a little confusing. So, if you recall,
Yeah, she did pay that one. She paid that one. That $10 one went out after that one. She was ordered here today at this meeting for that $50 fine.
Because it was her second time being late,
Third or fourth.
third or fourth.
Yeah.
Well,
She
that's,
was ordered to appear last time she appeared. This time she was ordered to appear again. So that would have been, today would be her third time late, and then the $10 is her fourth time late.
well,
Yes.
so in November, she was late filing her pre-election amendment. Okay. Right?
The pre-election report was the $50. That's what you have as the pre-election report for the $50. She was a
Right.
Made that, yes.
But she was late on doing the amendment to her pre-primary report
Previously, yes.
previously. And I can't remember,
That's all you're
I-
doing is that one. And then the hearing, she'll be on the hearing one as well,
but that's a third one.
or fourth one.
Okay. Okay, the only thing that I've presented to the board right now is that she appeared in November on her pre-election report, came here, and at the time that she was here, it was already noted that she was late on her delinquent defective report. The board decided to maintain the $50 fine. That fine has been paid, so the board can approve the findings and conclusions. I'll go ahead and send that out, but this has been paid.
All right, I will motion acceptance of the findings and conclusions for Hannah Trueblood relative to her $50 fine. She's paid it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now we're getting into the delinquent defectives from the pre-election reports, okay? I know. So we're kind of shifting for the next,
But on the sheet we have, so we just went through the first table, and it's the table.
yeah, so where it says
Above that.
where it says outstanding fines, within that section, it mixes in some of the delinquent defectives, and it mixes into that some people who were the delinquent pre-election. Okay, so that bottom section mixes some of
Yep.
that together. Okay. Moving, and so when you go to where it says 2023 delinquent pre-election amendments, that's going to be they were supposed to fix things after they did the filing of the, after we received the reports, even if they were originally delinquent. Okay, so you're going to see Lance Raphael on there again because he was supposed to correct, even though we just passed findings and conclusions because he was delinquent to begin with.
On this one as well, like, we never received the amendment. Never received the amendment.
So for the three then that are in red, then we've
Yeah,
never
we
received the
did
amendment.
not receive the report from them at all. So their amendments were due on January 11th at noon. We had one that was turned in after that day, and then we have two of them that still have not, and they're repeat offenders, Lance Raphael and Anthony Wire, that still have not turned reports in. They're gonna owe us each $100 again and a report, because we have nothing from them.
So was it the Beverly Shores Future Pack then that turned in late that day?
That's a pack that.
Okay.
So they're also, no report.
But we have the,
No, they're red, no report.
okay, okay.
Okay.
So Bob Forster's the only one that turned in, but he was late, right? Okay.
Now I have, from our spreadsheet, I sent out notice to Joletta Collins, and Joletta Collins has agreed to do the waiver. So if you would like, and I believe she's already, and with that, she's paid. So that's $40.
Those were the previous ones, these are not the ones that we're talking about now.
When you say previous ones, I sent out notice on,
These are the ones for the pre-election amendments, the first ones. You're talking about Joetta Collins and Hannah and Ellen, those were the previous three. Those are different reports that we're getting into. Those notices that you sent out were for the pre-election amendment one, the ones that you're talking about on the spreadsheet, it says pre-election amendments number 2. Those were your
There,
separate.
but there's no action coming before the board on those if they were,
No, that's what I'm saying, but those are the ones you're talking about right now. Correct?
no.
Or just,
Because what's coming before the board is what I sent notice out for people to be
right,
here.
but you started talking about Anthony Wire, Bob Forrester, and Lance Raphael, which was amendment number 2.
I got it.
Those have not been sent letters out.
That's correct. I agree. Yep, I agree with you on that. Okay. Yep.
So, but we need to take action on what we want done with Mr. Wire, Mr. Raphael, and the Beverly Shores PAC. Is that correct?
No.
Forrester, yeah, they're all gonna need letters sent that they were late and they owe fines and or reports.
They will come before you in February.
I guess that's what I was getting at, if you guys wanna take action on that before we move on to the next set.
Yes. Yes.
So it's just a matter of, if the board would like to entertain a motion that notice goes out for them to appear in the next meeting, then I can get notice out to Rob Forrester, Lance Raphael, Anthony Wire, and the Beverly Shores PAC. They will be before you in February.
Do we need to see Mr. Forster? He was just,
No, this is his first, I think that's his first time.
But I do have to send the notice to them.
yeah, that he owes 10.
He
But
will,
with the opportunity for the.
he will have the opportunity for
Yeah.
a waiver, the other
Yeah.
ones will not.
Okay. All right, I will so motion that those informational letters go out.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Before we get into the hearings, the next thing that you have is the annual report, which is at the top of the page, whose reports were due on January the 17th. These folks will also need to have a notice to appear in February to explain why they were delinquent in filing the report. You will note the ones in red where it was not, those are not first timers
No, the red is, they don't have a report turned in.
at all.
That are repeat offenders have the notes next to
Okay.
We need to contact everyone in that upper
Yes. all of
box.
them.
all 24.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And I would assume that anybody where there's no notation about prior
Haven't been late before.
can be offered a waiver, but the other one's not offered a waiver. Is that correct?
If they have not had a prior offense and have turned in their report, they're eligible
Correct.
for a waiver. Everyone else.
And that's represented by the blank space at the end of the table.
At the end, they've never been late before.
So they would be offered the waiver.
Yeah, the policy is if you're a repeat offender, you need to appear.
Okay. Now,
Now what?
now we have, I sent letters out to Ms. Collins, Ms. Trueblood, and Ms. Capitan to come before the board here today for the delinquent effective
Pre-election.
pre-election amendments. So, this is where you start.
All right, so we'll begin with our hearing, and we have some people coming before us, so I'll read our language into the record. We are here today to hear information concerning delinquent, defective, pre-election filings and annual reports by several people. The hearing was set by the board at its prior meeting. Public notice of this meeting has been provided. This matter is being recorded, and I am requesting that the county clerk please ensure that the audio recording of these proceedings are maintained as part of the record. The matters that have been set forth before us today involved Indiana Code IC 39417. The section requires that any person who fails to file with the County Election Board a report in the manner required under IC 395 is subject to a civil penalty. The purpose of these proceedings is to determine if such penalty needs to be applied to the persons who have been asked to appear. Indiana Code provides that if the County Election Board determines that a person failed to file the report or statement of organization by the deadline prescribed under this article, the board shall assess a civil penalty. And I'm not sure that the penalties will vary, or is it the $50 one we're doing today for each day?
This is the one, it's gonna be a $10 per day.
All right, so the penalty is $10 for each day the report is late, the afternoon of the final date of the filing of the report or statement being calculated as the first date. All right, anyone here who is prepared to testify before this board on these issues, please stand and raise your right hand. I will read this and then you can attest to it. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Okay, do we have
It
only
would be Ellen Capitan.
Ellen Capitan? Please come forward if you will, please. Okay, so
Okay, so she had a pre-election amendment due on November the 9th. She turned it in on November the 13th. So based on the delinquency of that, you have before you a fine of $50. She was sent notice on, first notice about that on December 28th. There was a check that came in, and part of what this is a follow-up from the meeting that we had in November, and it's in your minutes as well that's been approved. But if you recall, what happened is that she filed a waiver to appear, and then she paid $100 when she should have only paid $50. She was requested for the pre-election report. She was then currently delinquent. She kind of changed the amount on that. The board wanted her to appear to address her second delinquent report. Cindy, I don't know.
She's paid her $50. Yeah.
Technically, she's overpaid.
She actually paid it ahead of time because she had come in to pay a previous fine and paid it all at the same time.
So she's paid everything.
So she's paid.
She's not overpaid?
No, she's not overpaid.
Is flush?
Yes, she's flush.
But because of the fact that it was her second offense, the board had sent notice for her to appear.
Okay.
She still had to appear even though it was paid already.
So the waiver was for her first offense, and she had already collected her second offense, so she changed the waiver.
And the corrected report that was filed on November 13th has been checked and was accurate?
Yeah, because everything went out, so anything that.
Yeah,
so
okay.
She's got her reports in, she's good. She's not on the other list.
And I turned my
Not on
last
the annual list,
time.
so Ellen is good to go.
okay, good. So I guess if nothing else, you got to share one of our meetings, and you get a sense of what we're up against here when people aren't timely with their filings, right? And so it happened to you twice, and our rule is if you mess up once, we'll try to find a way to work with you. If you mess up twice, you at least have to come and share the misery with us, and so I guess you've done that today. I don't know if anyone else has a comment they'd like to make.
So in other words, you guys have accepted, we took the waiver, and we accepted the waiver for the $50. She's here before you for another $50 fine. and you gotta make a ruling on that $50 fine, but the money you've already collected.
She's already paid that
Already
fine.
paid the fine.
I recognized that
have-
I was late, so I paid it.
So, but we haven't accepted that as the proper
You
payment
haven't
for the
imposed the
fine?
penalty for the penalty she's already paid.
The-
So basically, we need to clean things up. We just need to make a motion that she's fined the $50 and we accept it.
Yep, that's right. She's been fined $50 and we can note that that money's already been paid.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I think we're Jake. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. I also sent out notice to Hannah Trueblood, who is not here before you. And her fine was, just a second, look at mine. Yeah. And notice was sent and received.
She has not paid the fine.
And she would advised of the fact that she needed to appear in person when she was here in November on top of that notification.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I remember it too, but what we do about that now, I don't know, it's not so much the $10, it's just like, makes you feel like they don't care. So the $10, that fee doesn't, or that fine doesn't grow or anything, it's just she owes $10, but she didn't appear or pay the $10.
Correct. So the
I
board,
thought maybe she didn't pay it because she was gonna pay it when she came in, so I even brought the receipt.
so the board can just move to default her on the $10 fine.
I will move to default her on the $10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I would ask of council, what happens now? What does,
I will bring back findings and you guys will adopt them and I will send them out and we will hope to collect the $10 with her.
okay.
The other final thing on this is that on the outstanding fines that are below, at that bottom section, the question is, and I've had some discussions with Sunday and Jessica about this, is that it appears that there is no mechanism within the county to do a collection on debt. And if it is that the board is wanting to collect on this, then I have to go file that with the court and then start an action to receive those, like in a collections matter. And I feel that if that is what the board wants to do, then that really needs board action to initiate legal action against folks to collect.
At first blush, my thoughts are, if we're assigning these fines, and people might at least assume that we have a means by which we can collect those fines, if they find out we don't have any legal way of, then we might as well stop asking people to file their reports in a timely manner. I don't, it's tough now. As you can see, our docket's always full of this stuff. And we fool ourselves into thinking there's something we can do about it. So I think we need to do something about it. That's my thoughts.
I don't disagree with that approach. The thing that's in my mind is just we are facing a pretty significant batch here of potential additional fines and individuals we need to collect from. So for efficiency purposes, I was kind of just thinking out loud whether we should kind of wait to see how these delinquent annuals for 2023 play out, and then we could deal with all of them in one batch rather than
Yeah,
doing it in multiple
I don't
batches.
disagree with that,
Yes.
but but I think we need to be on record in saying that we are going to deal with this stuff. We're not
Oh,
just
I'm
gonna
fine
walk
with
away
it, yes.
from the
Yep.
unpaid
Yep.
fines.
I can send a letter, a warning letter, before we do something. I completely agree with Board Member Lowe's comments that for my time and for efficiency's sake, it's better to have a larger batch than I'm looking at my attorney colleagues than to try to do this as one-offs.
Right.
Yep.
Right,
It
makes
just
perfect
is-
sense.
A lot of
Not-
the ones on the outstanding list are on the delinquent end.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, and like Hannah Trueblood, who's down there, she would not be part of that right now because I have to bring findings and conclusions back to you to be adopted before she can officially be a
Right.
part of this.
Right,
Okay, but there are some others, like the two bottom names down there, they've been sitting on their findings and conclusions for about 6 months.
right.
And then some of the other ones that are up there that we just dealt with today to do their findings and conclusions. So I can send out, I can try to do some reminders for those two bottom ones. Sending out the findings and conclusions for the other ones that are on top. See what happens. Maybe then send them a second reminder letter. See where we are on the annuals, and then bring this back to your attention maybe in March. Does that sound like a good plan?
That does.
Sounds good to me. I just think it's important we commit that we're not going to walk away from people who just refuse to pay the fine.
And Monica, remember Tim brought this up, and I suspect I know the answer to it, but to the extent that there is any ability for us to recover attorney's fees,
Yeah.
without expending huge sums of time, I would be interested in seeing whether that's a possibility there or not.
Yes, and I think, as you know, you have to have a statutory or contractual
Right.
basis.
Yep.
So I have to determine whether or not that there's a explicit statutory basis to collect attorney fees. Yeah. If that's possible, then I'll bring that back to you in March too, because that will make kind of the decisions a little bit easier for the board.
Correct.
Okay. Are we finished with campaign
'Cause that-
finance hearings?
Some of those fines can grow pretty quickly if attorney fees are being added to it.
That they can.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know if I missed it, but did you go over Joetta Collins and her waiver?
I think that's right here.
Yes, there we gotta
One
sign
more.
that, don't we?
One more. All right, I'll move findings for Joletta Collins.
No, not findings. This is.
What is this?
The waiver.
Oh, accepting her waiver and payment. Okay. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I should have asked this before, but this waiver is for her first offense, because I see here on here for a second offense.
Yes. Yeah, this is the
All right.
one we took the money for. Do we have more?
We will have more in February. I think for today, we have done what we came to do, so.
Okay.
We'll probably have a lot more, like, hearing-wise, just because, or not hearing-wise, but like, people coming before, because there is a lot that do not have a report turned in, and the maximum $1,000 fine is in 2 days. Unless they, by Saturday, they're gonna be at the max $1,000 fine, and I'm sure February will be a busy.
Do we see any patterns in this grouping here? I mean, are there a number of these candidates that haven't run in a period of time and have just perhaps forgotten to close things out? Do we have any sense of that?
If you look at it, there's quite a few that ran this 2023. I mean, there are some on there that, only file their annuals and haven't ran since 22 or, but I mean, it's not new.
Well, you've got 3 people with outstanding fines at the bottom in red, whose names also appear on the 2023. It's probably just as they just, and they're you know, sitting at $1,000 fine from before. 2 of them are sitting at $1,000 fine from before, and they're at risk of another $1,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Would seem to me you'd want to understand your requirements and your liabilities if you choose to run, you know?
We're making them sign a form now that we went over the campaign finance information with them. Because a lot of them that had come in said, oh, they never told me. Well, now we're going over it with them and making them sign off that we went over it with them. There's a statement at the top that says, this is your responsibility. You are aware you need to file timely, effective reports by this date, or this is your responsibility, and that we're making them sign it. Because we don't know what else. We go over the information, they get emails, it's a lot of tracking.
Yeah.
Some of us wanted to jump off the building yesterday,
Yeah.
a lot, going through to see how many times they've been late, and right now because we didn't have a December meeting, so some of this is months behind, so it's kind of, with filing going on in petitions, it's been a little crazy.
Well, not to add to your workload, but to the extent that you have those signed acknowledgements for people that are ordered to appear before us, that would be a helpful piece of
Yes.
information.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna save that.
Okay.
So it's everybody that's filed this year, we started that this.
Okay.
So if they end up in front of you, we're bringing that big,
Perfect.
like those lottery check size. And then since they're late, they get posted on our window that we are missing a report from them and we are late, so we're gonna make that real big too.
Okay. More fun next month. Stay tuned.
It's a staggering number.
It
really is.
It's depressing.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
All right. Upcoming meetings, Jesse?
On the 30th is the commissioners' meeting. President Roush is going to attend with me. We are seeking a variance for Tara. She was hired full-time and approved by the board full-time a couple days short of what her anniversary date of when she left the county would have been. And so we're seeking a variance to reinstate her. So she lost all of her previous time. So we're asking a variance to the handbook to reinstate back to, so she can have her vacation time and PTO time and all of that back to what it would have been had our meeting been earlier in the month. On February 9th is the last day to file. February 16th is the deadline to withdraw and also the challenge deadline. And February 19th, the office will be closed for the holiday. And then our next meeting is February 22nd.
So back to Tara then. The issue there was just the timing of our meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, we had,
But we already had hearings set out and everything, so there was no way to move our meeting. But because our meeting was when it was, she missed the deadline but she was already working full-time, just on a part-time status change instead of a full-time. And we're the only department in Porter County government that needs board approval in order for me to submit a full-time status change. So we're hoping that the commissioners will submit the variance or will approve the variance for her. But
Well, to the extent that it would carry any weight with the commissioners, I would make a motion to support the efforts to seek that variance.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So unanimous
Thank you.
support. Thank you, Ethan.
Good idea.
It's a very good idea.
All right, other business before the board?
Couple of things, in terms of your upcoming meetings. I was looking at your 4th meetings of the year for the board. I don't know about you, but I'm not sure that you want to be here on Thanksgiving Day. But I would assume that you probably are going to void out Thanksgiving because we'll probably do it with the
We'll do it with the
Certification, yeah.
election certification, yeah. And then, and it doesn't have to be dealt with today, but I've got conflicts in September and June on that fourth Thursday. So I don't know if that's a problem.
June and September?
June and September. Mm-hmm. And usually in June, Sunday is dealing with the delinquent, defective amendments to the pre-election. Our cycle, yeah, our cycle is that we'll have in May, of course, the primary. We'll probably be having people come because their pre-primary report will be due in April. We'll be having them come before the board for being delinquent in May. And then at that same time, the office will be dealing with the defective and then becoming delinquent. So that time period there in June, even if we can move it up to June 20th, I think we can still capture Sunday's delinquent and defective report amendments.
I have to check the room availability because I do believe that there's another meeting in here on the third Thursday, which is why we had to be moved to the fourth
okay.
Thursday. So, but that gives us at least some leeway. I can report back in next month and we can check the dates, or I can even email out. I can check tomorrow and see what open dates there are in June and September.
And then in September, I think that might be one of those months where hopefully we have everything, because there won't be reports due.
Yeah, the report's due in October.
Oh, no, but not in September.
Yeah, but the report will be due in October, so you'll be addressing them in September. Delinquents.
No, you've got that flipped. If they're due in October, we'd be addressing them in November.
Oh, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's okay.
Like,
It's your birthday. It's your birthday. We'll give you a pass. That's right.
Everybody started early.
Yes. September would be like
Yep.
So we might be able to get by with holding that date and just not have it on a.
We may not even have
I don't
any.
know if I'd skip any months, to be honest.
Yeah, we may not
Yeah.
have
Skipping
any.
December completely made this list like that, so I don't think we should skip it.
Anymore.
Pick one in December, because we're having it.
Well, and I guess that's the other thing, because, well, that's the day after Christmas next year.
Yes, boss.
Let's move that one up too then.
Okay,
okay, so
So-
I'll look for alternate dates for June, September, and December.
yeah.
Okay. Any other business?
Or we can be here after Christmas, we can do a white elephant gift exchange with her, right?
Public comment. Hello.
Hi.
Jennifer Klug, 200 Franklin Street, Apartment A, Town of Porter. At the last meeting, it was brought up that there was a complaint filed with this board and with the Secretary of State and possibly a couple of other boards regarding the Town of Porter and the general election on November. And it was mentioned about it was going to be addressed maybe at this meeting because some of the attachments to the email weren't provided. And I was wondering, is there an update on the whole situation with that complaint? I think it was made by Alita Altrolo Filippo.
Yeah. So we reached out to all the poll workers, and they said they didn't have any problems that day, that everything ran smooth, it was fine. I'm not sure exactly what she was talking about, so, but yeah, we did reach out to all of our
Okay.
poll workers, the inspectors, and judges of both parties, and talked to them.
So that was basically the only thing of that complaint.
Yeah, I think
Under the jurisdiction of this body.
the board found that the complaints were not timely. But as a follow-up, we did agree to look into how well things may or may not have gone in Porter. And that's what Sunday's speaking about. There was really no action for us to take.
No, I understand that, because from what I understand, it was like, that was only one thing out of the whole list that
Yes,
Correct.
was under the board's jurisdiction. And
Yes.
anything else was not under the board's jurisdiction.
yeah. So I guess from our end, having investigated, no one that was working there or involved in that polling site concurred with her findings or her allegation of, it being messed up.
Okay, and just as a personal note, I've watched this board deal with delinquent reports and defective reports and fines and everything. And I really think that maybe people that are running for office, I mean, it's like, if you're running for office, do you expect people to think you're going to do a good job if you can't get your paperwork straight while you're running? I mean, usually people, they get in office, they've got a lot of things to remember and deal with, plus their regular lives. So maybe it's like, okay, do you realize you're making yourself look stupid? I mean, personally, I think that, and it's like, come on, why can't you got people, you can hire Kennard Taylor if you need to. You can ask for help. They've got classes now. They didn't used to have classes.
Yeah.
They're working their butts off and making people sign waivers to say, hey, this is your responsibility. I just wish people would say, hey, if they want to be in office, please just at least get your paperwork straight. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
You've been saying that for years.
Barb? Welcome.
Hello. My name's Barbara Domer, and first I want to congratulate you on receiving the $27,000 grant. I'm inquiring of this board to consider increasing the number of mobile voting locations during early voting period to each of the Porter County high schools during the times when it would be most convenient for eligible high school voters to cast their vote. This action will empower young voters by providing greater access to voting.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Might be some legal issues around that, right? With the schools wanting us there, not legal.
The schools have already said no.
They
No.
would said no?
Yeah.
The schools would say no to that?
Yes.
Really?
Because we're inviting general public to the high schools.
Oh, she says the mobile voter.
Yes, mobile voting acts as a satellite voting. You cannot restrict it just to
One class of
One
to
class of people.
class. Now,
Yeah.
what we do is we take it and we do voter registration drives there, or we do, we've done student council elections or something like that, where they can learn how to vote or whatever and see the vote-mobile, and they get to see the equipment and things like that and learn how to work it. We've done that for those specific classes. But as far as mobile voting, it acts as a satellite location, and then you're inviting the general public. And there's no rhyme or reason. You can't have school security out there because that's voter intimidation. They don't want general public on their property during school hours. So they've asked before, we've given them the same answers before. It's not well received on public property or on public school grounds.
Okay.
But alternatively, there are early voting locations and there are expanded hours leading up to election day where, to the extent that there are individuals that want to cast a vote earlier, there's an opportunity to do so.
Yes.
And that's in person. There's also the absentee
And when,
component to it. So, I mean,
A lot of the schools are election day sites.
yes.
correct.
And when Hebron had their referendum, they asked for the vote-mobile to be there, and we did accommodate that.
But then now they don't,
Correct, not during the school day.
and not.
And it was
during the
after
rest-
school hours and.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there was some logistics around it. But again, anything that happens in the primary has to happen in the general.
Right.
So-
And her goal was outreach to student, right?
Right. And we're,
And that's where we
We
get
would-
into them not really wanting us on the property.
right, because we can't restrict it just
They're
to
responsible
students.
to watch the kids.
That's
So they
our
can
problem.
have a class
Yeah.
and then have the general public come and try to cast votes.
Right.
I mean, for that very same reason, that's why on election day, we asked the school to go to an e-learning day. I mean, because a lot of schools, in our conversations, we don't know who's coming in that building, or, you know, we don't want anything happening that endangers any child, any kid, you know,
Exactly.
whatsoever. So that's why we say, if you can go to e-learning and stuff like this, man, it's a win-win situation. So if you go mobile voting, you, like they said, can't do it for just one class or one group.
Yeah, one
So
group
it's-
of people.
It's gonna have to be open to the public.
I mean, I'd love to do it, you know,
Good concept.
yeah. You know, Tuesday be here, Wednesday be over here from this hour to this hour and hit all the school corporations during early vote period. But unfortunately, it would be during school hours that would be able to happen. And then you're inviting the general public because it has to be advertised.
Okay. Good idea, though.
It is a good idea.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all.